All right, greetings from Hanover, everybody. I'm here with Brian May of Accenture. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you, glad to be here.
All right, we're talking about AI in manufacturing and perhaps the skill gap. So how can digital and connected solution help address the talent gap that exists in manufacturing today, Brian?
Yeah, it's a great question. So industrial manufacturers are dealing with a lot of things these days. I mean, it's like the perfect storm. You know, they've got new customer requirements coming their way, they've got energy transition they're responding to, they've got inflation and cost pressures, and yes, they can't find enough people to build product. To engineer product, to service product. So we certainly feel that digital, data, AI, and yes, Gen AI is part of the answer to that. You know, when you walk around this fair and you see some of the things coming to life in terms of how technology, when applied the right way, can actually drive massive amounts of productivity into the workforce, it becomes very clear. I was looking at an example where, you know, if you look at servicing a piece of equipment or a product, there just aren't enough people to service it. Can't find technicians, can't find enough people. So the result of that is people are needing to bring in less experienced workers and hope they can get up to speed quick, hope they can you know, figure out what's wrong with the product so they can perform the service without having to disrupt somebody or interrupt a more experienced technician that's working on their own job. So I was looking at an example over here where when you digitize, you know, the service experience, when you enable the technician with technology and you allow that technician to actually interact with Gen AI through a chatbot, literally have an English-based discussion, a conversation with the product to be able to help them walk through how to service that piece of equipment or that product. It brought it to life how it can make a massive change in terms of the productivity. It can get those technicians that are less experienced to do more complex jobs. That means more out of your technicians and frankly happier customers.
All right, Brian, so great insights. Talk a little about some of the tinkering experimentation you see out there with AI and generative AI, and what challenges sort of the manufacturing do have to address in order to scale.
Yeah. So scaling's the trick. I mean, everybody's doing something with this stuff out there today. The key is, how do you move from focusing on an individual use case that may have some value, but to scale it probably costs more money than the use case will produce in terms of value, to a transformation program, looking at how do you reinvent a process, reinvent a value chain, and enable it with AI, Gen AI, you know, data. Focus on the value. It's value-led. It's not just value, but it's what do you need to do to change the workforce, the roles, the skills, to be able to capitalize on the value, and then how do you do it responsibly? When you structure those things in a way and it gets momentum then around the value, a broader value proposition, that's when we're seeing people starting the value at scale.
Talk a bit about some of the companies, how they can get value, especially in the context of data is fragmented. Today, only 20% of the data is being used, yet we had, 47 billion devices connected, yet only 20% of the industrial data is being used.
Yeah, so it's a big issue. I mean, if you think about, we did a lot of research. We did some research on this topic, and north of 80%, 85, 88% of executives that we surveyed said, absolutely, I see value in this. Absolutely, I'm going to direct more money to it. But only about 10% of them said, my data strategy, my data architecture is ready for it. So the reality is, you know, in this industry, in the industrial manufacturing industry, there's a lot of autonomy at the business unit, at the plant level, and that has resulted in, frankly, fragmentation of systems, fragmentation of data. One way to deal with that is, let's go clean all that up. Let's cleanse our data, let's put in new enterprise systems, maybe new PLMs or MESs, and the reality is that takes a long time. Frankly, people and customers aren't going to wait for that. So there are other ways to deal with it. I mean, there are platforms now that contextualize data and allow you to set these platforms on top of the fragmentation and still get a lot of value out of it. So we're seeing those platforms really pick off.
Thank you, Brian. And I want to end up with one question, which is around the mindset necessary to to generate these leaders? Especially, you deal with a lot of people, consulting a lot of companies. You're sort of influencing, getting on this either digital transformation journey or the AI journey. How do you create this leader? What is the mindset necessary to get on this journey?
Yeah, it's a great question also. So, leaders need to be able to give the people that they're tasking with doing this stuff a long leash, if you will. We need to be able to do some I said there's a lot of experimentation going on and tinkering. Yes, there will continue to be, but we need to experiment and fail fast along the transformation journey. So that's one thing. Protect those people, have their back, make sure that you're giving them the autonomy to do that. The second thing is we need to do all of this very responsibly. If you think about that, what does that mean? Use it in the right way to make the right decisions. Make sure it's secure. Set up guardrails for how you're going to do this at your company. And if leaders of these industrial manufacturers don't set up the guardrails, regulations are going to come upon us that will actually sub-optimize the value we can get. So let people experiment, let them fail fast, and then really do it in a responsible way is what I would say.
Thank you, Brian. And if you're in the audience, you have questions for Brian, feel free to leverage the hashtag on the screen or join here in Hanover. You'll be here the rest of the week and have experts here, but we'll also make sure that we get the question answers online if you post them there, or perhaps host you at the IoT World's Manufacturing Day and
that would be
on our panel.
That would be fantastic.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.